Good evening, friends. In the human rights topic, the case of D.K. Basu versus State of West Bengal, 1997, is the most important case and one of the famous cases as far as human rights are concerned. So now, today, we will discuss the same case in the our Protection of Human Rights Act 1993 topic. Human rights, they are definitely inalienable. They are universal. Everybody has got the human rights. So it is the duty of the state to protect the life and liberty of every individual. That is the power of the constitution which was given to each and every citizen on the earth, particularly in India, according to our constitution. Now, actually, in some of my previous videos, about a year back or so, I have discussed at length about this D.K. Basu case. But still, there is a time has come where we have to revive, or in my words, the Supreme Court may have to revive D.K. Basu judgment in view of the ongoing incidents in Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh. So we can cite these cases. That is, one is the death of Father Jairaj and his son Benix in Sattankulam police station in Thoothukudi district, and the encounter or alleged fake encounter of Vikas Dubey in Kanpur of Uttar Pradesh. These two incidents so take us once again back to D.K. Basu case. So what is this case? Let us now know. Actually, D.K. Basu, he is Debabrata Kanta Basu. He is the executive chairman of Legal Aid Services, Kolkata, right? So, during the year 1996, there were series of lockup deaths, a series of custodial violence cases, a series of police brutalities. So, he has seen the paper publications, particularly on 3 days continuously, that is 20th, 21st and 22nd of July 1986. On the 3 days in the newspaper Telegraph, they have been publishing continuous items about the police torture, right? Therefore, he has taken a note of the issue. As executive chairman of the Legal Aid Services, he has taken a note of the issue. And after 1 month, that is on 17/8/1986, another paper by name Statesman and also Indian Express, yes, both of them, they also published news relating to the police torture and police lock. At the time, they used to call as lockup deaths. Now we are calling as custodial deaths. They used to call as lockup deaths. So a time has come. So he has filed a petition before the Supreme Court. He has sent a letter together with the press publications, and he has requested the Supreme Court to take it as a public interest litigation, as a police brutalities, because are increasing, and the issue has to be examined in depth, and custodial jurisprudence has to be developed, just like other jurisprudences, just like legal, in part of legal, as a part of legal jurisprudence, custodial jurisprudence also should be developed. Therefore, some modalities have to be formed for awarding compensation or for fixing the accountability on the part of police officers, normally who try to hush up the matter, who try to circumvent the law, who try to make the issue in their favor, just like the case with Ketha Venkateswamy. I told you that fellow has went to the Topes and he received injuries. They are all grazing injuries, but nobody will believe. But like that, they are going to prove their defenses. If that is allowed, then the crime of killing persons will go unchecked. The crime will flourish. So therefore, the crime goes unpunished. Yes, therefore, it was requested that it may be treated as a public interest litigation. Okay, right? So the Supreme Court of India has taken it into consideration and sent notice to the state of West Bengal. But now, in this meantime, what happened is Ashok Kumar Johri is an advocate. Ashok Kumar Johri, he wrote a letter to the Chief Justice of India about incident that on 29/7/1987, after 1 year, 29 1987. So one Mahesh Bihari of Pilkhana area, Aligarh, was allegedly done to death by the police. That means he died in police custody. So since the matters relate to the same thing, the Honorable Supreme Court clubbed this matter also. That's why this case, if you refer to the net, then it can be called as Sri D.K. Basu and Ashok K. Johari versus State of West Bengal in 1997. Actually, the judgment, or actually in this case, the guidelines were given. The judgment was delivered on 19/12/1997. You may be knowing, 10 years time they have taken Supreme Court. See, this man has filed a petition regarding lockup deaths which occurred during the year 1986 and 87, and the matter was decided in the year 1997. So, anyway, delay is common in judicial activities. Now, the issue was taken, and as usual, notices were sent to the state of West Bengal. But the reply received from them is just like the film, that Hindi film, Three Idiots, all is well, everything is well. So the state of West Bengal filed a counter stating that police are not hushing up any case of custodial violence, and if at all such things is there, action is being taken against the errant police officers, and they are not also being spared. Right? Just like our Sitanagaram incident where the SA, Mr. Farid Shah, has been arrested for causing the tonsuring of the head of that Dalit boy. Right? And they also stated that the writ petition is misconceived, misleading, and untenable in law. Of course, this is the language used by the lawyers for every petition, even after you become the lawyers, you will write the same thing, don't worry. So it is written. Now, the Supreme Court opined that in almost state, the things are like this. That means Supreme Court is not satisfied with the version of the state of West Bengal. They have got an element of doubt. They wanted to conduct an inquiry deeply. Therefore, they requested Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi to act as amicus curiae. Who is amicus curiae? Amicus curiae, in simple, you remember that amicus curiae is an advocate who is assisting the court in arriving at the truth. So he readily agreed, and the notices were sent to all the states, and all the states were asked to respond, and also respond whether they want to say anything in this direction. Right, definitely, whether they desire to say anything in the matter. And notice was sent to the Law Commission also for their recommendations. Right. Now, almost every state has been stating that no doubt there is an increase in the custodial violence, but they are taking precautions. They have been instructing their subordinate police officers with instructions to keep vigil over the persons who are in the lockup, and to feed them properly and to treat them properly. All these things, of course, on paper, so many things will be told. That same thing they have told. And everybody wants to say that previous years the lockup death was like this, and now this has lessened. All these things they have written. Of course, they are not being taken into consideration because already Supreme Court knows the factual report through Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who is the amicus curiae. Right. Now, the Law Commission. The Law Commission also recommended at amendment of section 114B in the part of B. That means normally whenever the accomplice, the evidence of the accomplice or the approver, the evidence of the accomplice is unworthy of credit unless he is corroborated in the material particulars. This happened in the case of Satan Kulam, where the woman head constable Shanti. So she has narrated the entire incident. That is what is called accomplice, means co-accused. But she can be treated as an approver, and protection has to be given to her. So like that, if you give protection, the police officers also, the genuine police officers also will come up and state the truth. That is the Law Commission told. Right? So now the opinion of the Supreme Court in this regard regarding custodial torture. So custodial violence, including death and also the torture in the lockup, it is a blow to the rule of law. custodial violence is a blow to the rule of law, and custodial violence is committed by the persons who are supposed to protect the law. The police officer, they are to maintain the law and order, they are supposed to protect the law, but they can't take away the life and liberty of the citizens as per Article 21 and 22, which are being flouted, but in fact they have to be protected. Article 21, 22, definitely they have to be protected mainly by the police department, right? So now I will tell you torture. What is torture? Actually, there is no legal definition for torture, but in the case of Miranda versus Arizona, USA, and also Chamber versus Florida, 1940, it has been stated that torture is a wound in the soul. Torture is a wound in the soul, so painful that you can't get out for some days. So sometimes you can almost feel with the same, and if anybody touches it also, it will not go. That means there is no soothing immediately, right? There is no way to hold it also. We have to express this to somebody, right? Anyway, it is a calculated assault on the human dignity. This is what American court defined torture in general terms. And even in Nilavati Behra versus State of Odisha, 1993, yes, the Supreme Court pointed that the prisoners and detainees, definitely they are also having fundamental right under Article 21, except the regional restrictions that they should not move out, they should not meet persons as they like, all these things. These are regional restrictions, but the fundamental rights will be vested with them, and the jail authorities, they have to protect the fundamental rights. Right? So with this, so many discussions have taken place, so many cases have been referred. Ultimately, because it's already getting tight, I want to tell you the guidelines given by the Supreme Court as and when a person is arrested. Please remember, this is most important. Already I have posted WhatsApp also. Right? The instructions are: number one, the police persons who are causing the arrest or who are conducting the interrogation should hold a name badge with clear, visible, accurate identification of the name tags together with designations. For example, S. Sai Babu. Actually, we have gone in advance. The Department of AP Police, they stated that it should be written in 2 languages. S. Sai Babu in English, and then by Sunkara Sai Babu in Telugu, and also DSP, like designation. All these things they have to write. They should be visible, clear, and accurate. Alright, and also these particulars should be maintained in a register. At the time of conducting interrogation, normally they will write. There is no problem. Definitely they will write and conduct the interrogation. Second, the memo of arrest. So whenever a person is arrested, definitely the police are supposed to prepare a memo of arrest according to 50 ACRPC, and at that time there should be one witness for the same also. So the witness signature is also necessary. The witness may be his friend, maybe a relative, or maybe a respectable inhabitant of the same locality. Right? So as long as he is in custody, then this person should be allowed to be accompanied by his friend or relative. Right? This is 3. Number 4. The arrest intimation should be sent to one of his friends or relatives, because at times at the time of arrest the relative or friend may not be available. So this fellow is going to forest, he has gone to forest and he is taking shelter there, he is arrested. Which relative will be there? So at that time, after arresting him, after bringing him to the police station, this arrest intimation should be sent to his friend or relative. For this purpose, normally courts use the service of legal service authority, that is para-legal volunteers. They use the services. Right? Then next 5. Yes, the arrested person can also intimate his friends or relatives. He should be allowed to inform that he is arrested, because the arrest intimation, the purpose of the intimation is that the other people should know that he is arrested. The interested people should know that he is arrested. That means they have to go for legal advice. Then 6, diary entry, right. So these regarding the arrest and other things, diary entry should be made. Diary, you may have to remember section 44 of the Police Act. According to section 44, whatever happens in the police station in a day, every hour, they have to be written in the station house journal diary. It is an important record. Right. Then 7. Arrested person should be examined by the medical officer. Of course, if some minor injury is there, if at the request of the person, yes, definitely he can be sent for the medical examination. Of course, now according to 54A, every person should be sent for medical examination before being produced before the magistrate. Nowadays, it is very clear. Then medical examination, if the person is detained, sometimes the person will be handed over to the police 2 days, 3 days like that. At that time, within 48 hours, once he should be medically examined. See how the court is taking precautions. So that means to avoid the so-called torture. Right, and the arrest 9. So the arrest intimation should be sent to the local magistrate. Previously, according to the police manual, the fact of arrest should be intimated to the RDO or the executive magistrate. Of course, even at that time also, we used to send the same to the local magistrates. It is very clear now. Then 10. He can meet his lawyer during interrogation. Of course, this is an important issue and it is allowed also. Nowadays, the persons are being allowed. The advocate is allowed for interrogation. But the problem is, no doubt you will be allowed. But as long as the lawyer is present, normally the questions will be asked her, how are you, what is your village, what are the crops you sow, and who are village elders, all these things were you present. But once, because in the meantime, the lawyer gets some phone call. Normally you people, you are habituated, without phone we can't survive. So the lawyer will go out, at the time they will start the real interrogation and the fellow will come out. That is normally being done. But anyway, please remember, the advocate should be present along with the accused at the time of interrogation, and it is allowed. It is a constitutional function. Definitely, they have to allow. Nowadays, they are allowing also. No problem. Then 11, the police. So regarding the arrest, whenever any person is arrested, this intimation should be sent to the others. The public should know that so-and-so person is arrested. Therefore, the police control room daily should publish a list of the arrested persons. So these 11 instructions are more important, and if the police follow them in letter and spirit, there is every chance for subsiding or for minimizing the so-called police torture, police brutality, death in police custody, police violence. All these things will stop down. Right? Now, anyway, with this, we will also stop because already 17 minutes are over. You may get bored. Anyway, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.